Welcome to Demo Day, where young innovators take the stage and showcase real-world projects to a global audience. At WEquil School, students learn to become innovators, teaching each other each week through their creations. WEquil App has thousands of novel and useful projects born out of our students' strengths, interests, and passions. But Demo Day is more than just a presentation. It's a celebration of innovation, collaboration, and the power of young minds. Join us on this incredible journey of inspiration as we witness the next generation of problem solvers and leaders. From Harvard professors to industry experts, our demo days attract incredible guest speakers who share their knowledge and ignite curiosity. Whether you're a young innovator looking to showcase your creations or a family seeking an extraordinary learning experience, Demo Day is here for you. Together, let's create a world where young minds flourish, ideas come to life, and innovation knows no boundaries. Join us for an unforgettable journey of learning, growth, and discovery. Welcome to Demo Day.
Today I will be presenting my project, and it's part one of a 3-part big project. So basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make a bike for my stuffed animal named Stuffy, and this is Stuffy. And to do that, the first step is to understand how a bike works. So that's what my project is going to be about. I'm going to talk about how the bike moves, how the brakes work, and stuff like that. So first is, what are the different parts of the bike? Now, there are a ton of different parts of the bike, all with very fancy names. Some I can't pronounce. And I'm not going to go through all of them because the only real ones that we really need to understand are the parts that are required to make the bike move. So if you want to learn specifically about each one, then you can read my article, but I'm just going to name them out. So first is the chain. That's this thing over here. The second is the cassette, and that's over here. The third is the chain rings. The fourth is the crankset. And then I also talk about derailleurs, but I'm not using them in Stuffy's bike. So now let's talk about how it actually works. So it's pretty simple to understand, even if it's not so easy to build. So basically, you have the cassette over here, which is basically like a collection of gears called sprockets. And the chain over here wraps around the sprocket. And then there's also this chain ring, which is basically like a sprocket that's connected to the pedals. And then the chain also wraps around the chain ring. The chain also wraps around the chain ring, hence the name. And so this makes it so that when you pedal, the chain takes all of that energy that you're creating when you're pedaling, puts it into the sprocket, which therefore puts it into the back wheel over here, making it turn and moving the bike forward. So the next thing we're going to talk about is brakes. There are a ton of different kinds of brakes. There's like disc brakes. There's like all these different kinds. But I'm just going to be using a simple one that my mom's bike used, which that's what I looked at to get the idea and figure out how it works. So basically, there are 6 main parts to this brake that you just need to understand. First is the actual brake, which is this part, and it's the part that does the actual clamping of the wheel. The second part are the brake pads. And so they're kind of like squishy things over here. These are the brake pads. They're what presses against the wheel to create friction and stop the wheel from moving. And then the third is the brake arbs, and that's what is attached to the brake pads. These things. And then the fourth is the cable. So that's this red thing. And then the fifth is the cable guide. It's kind of like a tube that wraps around the cable. And then the sixth is the brake lever. And so that's what you pull on. That's what's near the handle that you pull on to stop the bike. So how does this work? Well, I'm just going to give a quick overview. If you want a more detailed explanation, then you can go to my project. But basically, when you pull on this brake lever, it pulls this cable back, which in turn pulls, making it slide through the cable guide and pulling over here, which basically makes the brake arms press together and making the brake pads over here press against the wheel. So that's just a simple explanation. So thank you for listening to my presentation about about understanding the bike and how it moves and the brakes. And this, like I said before, is only one part of a 3-part journey to create a bike for Stuffy. So I hope you enjoyed reading or listening to my presentation. And so just keep reading, keep listening, and keep learning to find out what comes next, which is part 2, where we will be learning how to design the bike. Thank you.
I think that's the first time I actually knew what the brake did. I just never really got into bike mechanics, but that picture is really good. Did you make that picture? Oh wow. Yeah, that was
I told
really
you I
good.
was analyzing the brakes.
Huh?
What'd you say, Chloe?
I didn't actually know what brakes are either. I wonder if brakes work like follow the same outline as in cars, or if it's like a separate thing entirely, because that would be really
It's a
interesting.
little different. It's a little bit different. But
Yeah, but there aren't that many great videos out there of like explaining different brakes, partly because there are so many different brakes, and also partly because I don't know if there are a ton of people who go around learning about bike brakes. But yeah, so I have my own bike, which used to be my mom's bike, and so I just got a notepad, analyzed it, tested it, and pretty much just figured out what it did.
wow. Wait, you learned by doing?
Wow.
Oh my god. Sorry. Any other comments or questions for Aila?
Feedback sandwiches.
I thought it was really well put together.
Me too. I think especially given the presentation yesterday, I really liked how you kind of like went through it and just like kind of showed the bike mechanics. I thought that it was like a lot shorter than yesterday, but still covered just as much and was
I
very
really love the end.
comprehensive.
Like,
Oh yeah.
so when Aila first started doing these like public demonstrations over Zoom, it was over 3 years ago. She was 7, you know, and I mean, she's just got like this whole entertainer, like, you know, stay tuned, guys. We got part 2 and 3 coming. Okay, you know, like even if you weren't super into bikes, like I'm ready for part 2. Like, let's go.
That's designing the bike, which is going to be a real pain in the butt in terms of all the math and measuring and everything. But it'll make into a great and entertaining article.
There's another whole thing about this okay, so Stuffy has been an inspiration for a lot of things that Aila's done, several of which have made her money, including a book she published on Kindle. Like Stuffy was one of the main characters in that book. And then one of the first things she wanted to show me was Stuffy's room. She's been so
Hangout center. Stuffy
Right.
also has an office, which you haven't seen yet.
And then now, like, she's starting a TV show with Chloe doing this.
That's Stuff Date Worldwide News.
Yep, and I'm not making it with Aila. Stuffy and Pineapple are making
Yeah,
it.
I'm not doing anything except,
Me neither. Except
mean-
just
Stuffy's
like
doing
awesome
all of the
background for them.
editing. Stuffy is the co-host, and Pineapple is the host.
Because I came up with the idea of a Stuffy news channel in the first place.
Yes.
There's something about the way that Stuffy was actually the focus of Isla's very first written project 5 years ago.
Adventures of Stuffy McLuhan.
Back then, I was still making Isla write. I was like, you have to write. What do you want to write about? And she's just like, Stuffy. All right, you know. So it's just really miraculous. Like even just like the journeys of Stuffy McLou or something. I mean, at this point, it's like a documentary. You can
Also,
only tell the
Stuffy-
story of WEquil School through Stuffy.
Stuffy has a Gmail account. Stuffy also has an account on WEquil App. Stuffy has.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
That's great.
let's keep going.
I got an idea. We could co-make a project on a day in the life of a Stuffy.
Oh boy, let's talk about
Yeah,
that
yeah.
during that club. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.